If you've been dreaming about a place where life feels a little more intentional, discover the Canopy in Sebastopol by City Ventures. This new community offers solar-powered homes, surrounded by mature trees, nature preserves, and walking trails, with a vibrant local downtown, renowned wineries, and the Bay Area all within easy reach. Enjoy low-maintenance living, refined design, and built-in eco-friendly features that make everyday life easier. Start your next chapter at the Canopy by City Ventures. Visit cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
This podcast may contain discussions of graphic violence, unsettling themes, supernatural phenomena, and other topics that some listeners may find disturbing or triggering. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed are simply those of the individual hosts and do not represent the profession of psychology or constitute professional advice.
Welcome to the Secret Passage podcast. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
I am Dana Vespoli with my enigmatic co-host Shannon Rogers.
Hello, everyone.
If for those that are not that are only listening, that aren't watching, Shannon has these glasses on where her eyes are like permanently open. It's crazy.
Isn't it? They're like Betty Davis eyes. They look better than my eyes, though, because Tim and I tied one on Saturday night, and I drank way too much wine, and my eyes are super puffy.
Oh.
I thought about keeping these on the whole time just to shield everyone from the puffy wine eyes. Okay.
This is amazing. Halloween is my favorite holiday, so it's not yet Halloween today as we're recording this, but we will be talking about personally one of my most, not just favorite horror movies, but one of my most favorite movies of all time, The Shining. Shannon is also a big fan of The Shining.
I am.
Yes, but before we get into The Shining and all things The Shining, let's discuss any secret passages we may have wandered down this past week. How about you, Shannon?
God, I had one in my mind earlier this morning, and I just like completely slipped my mind. Oh, secret passages. God, I don't know. Oh, Saturday night. Saturday night, Tim came home. I had started watching The Shining again, and I was taking notes, and I was like halfway through, and Tim came home, and I drank a bunch of wine, and then I went back through my notes. Alcohol is a neurotoxin, folks. Things that seem funny or genius in the moment often are not when you're sober. So I looked at it the next day, and I was all, Cindy lives in my mouth? Well, Cindy, the little girl who lives in Shannon's mouth. It's like a reference to Tony.
Right.
And at the moment, I probably thought that was really funny. And anyway, there's a bunch of other weird scribbles. Anyway, that's my thing. I had a very fun, weird, like college night with Tim. And we talked a lot about the podcast in the morning. He's all, Shannon, do you remember did you write down any of my ideas? And I'm like... I'm all, let me look. And I'm all, Cindy, the little girl who lives in my mouth. Anyway, how about you?
Let me see. I watched I watched The Shining, but we'll be getting into that. I watched a few other movies as well. I watched Bone Lake last night.
I've wondered about that.
So there are things I really, really liked about it, and things where I was like, the big reveal was like, not that, it felt like shocking for the sake of being shocking. It never needed to go there. But there was a lot that I really liked about it as well. And then I finally saw House of the Devil, which you've seen. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic.
Love that movie. I wanted to dress up like that satanic couple for Halloween, but we're way behind the 8 ball on that. It's really creepy, isn't it? It's a really good movie.
It does so well what a lot of movies really struggle with, which is atmosphere and tension. It's not afraid to be quiet and just kind of move along. It has enough faith in itself to not have jump scares and all that. There's just dread is such an underrated feeling that it seems like a lot of modern horror movie makers just don't really sit in the dread. And dread is the most uncomfortable feeling for me because jump scares are fleeting and
Yeah.
they're lazy. Not lazy. A well-placed jump scare is great, but dread is the challenging thing that that a lot of modern horror doesn't sit in. I think that Ari Aster has with I know that you don't like Hereditary. I really, really love Hereditary.
I wanna watch it again 'cause lots of people love it, and I'm like, "What's wrong with me?" It's like the right now with The Golden Bachelor. I like The Golden Bachelor, no one does. Um, but I've tried to start it. But I love movies that take their time. I think it's like it's rare. I mean, The Shining is a movie where there's a ton of dread. It's like the whole time I'm in the walking on eggshells place when watching
Right.
it, right? You're just like, "Oh, vicariously walking on eggshells." Ty West's other movie, The Innkeepers, I think you would
Oh,
really
that's
like.
right. You
Yeah,
mentioned that. I need to watch that.
you'd love it because it's the writing is great, like in that one. The characters you really like, and they're not that many. And it's slow and unfolds slowly, but there is this sort of building dread. And it's supernatural horror. I love supernatural horror, don't you?
I do. I do like supernatural horror.
Mhm.
Again, it's another one where it's just has to be done well. You know what? We've talked about this before. I think we even talked about it in one of our other podcasts, like opening, which is the movie Lake Mungo,
Oh, yeah.
which is supernatural. You and I both fucking loved Presence, Steven Soderbergh's
Oh,
Presence,
yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
for so many reasons, that movie, because it really explores like what does it mean to be haunted, which The Shining does as well,
Oh,
super well, which is these kind of gothic elements. Like it's supernatural, but it's not purely supernatural. you're,
yeah.
you're getting into a lot of things like exploring grief, uncomfortable family dynamics, etc. But
The Changeling. Have you seen The Changeling with George C.
yes,
Scott?
yeah,
It's so good.
yeah,
That movie scared the crap out of me.
yeah, it did.
The Shining too. Tim and I were talking about this last night, and he's like, "All week, this is what I get. You guys should talk about this. You guys should talk about this." But he's like, "You guys should talk about whether you would actually stay in that hotel like that over the winter." And I was like, "I so would, but I would be terrified to be there by myself. I would need someone else. That sort of cavernous, open."
But Shannon, you wouldn't be alone.
Yeah,
You would not be alone.
this is true.
I I would fear for other people's safety if they stay. I would have to be by myself. Like, it would
Ah.
have to be a self-sacrifice thing of like, "See you on the other side, maybe."
Okay, so here's my made up theory. I know we're gonna get
Okay.
into this. My made up theory in my mind, because I think the movie leaves a lot to be like desired. You can make a lot out of it. Like we used to talk about this in film school, like how there's the author, like there's the auteur and what they intended when they made their film, and then there's us that comes to the film as a text ourselves with our own histories and our own, and it's like a dream or something that you can interpret, right? So if I when I back away from the film after seeing it, I'm like, "Oh," in my mind, my little story is that it's not the hotel might not be evil, but, like, if you're more susceptible to that kind of, like, grooming, I feel like the hotel totally grooms people and absorbs them, but I feel like he was already flawed, and that's kind of what led to him falling prey to the forces there. So I don't know, like, if you weren't an asshole, would you would you necessarily try to hatchet murder your family? I don't know. But I wanna hear your theory because you have, like, studied this movie, you have thought about it a lot, you've done a lot of reading about it. How many times do you think you've seen it?
I've probably seen The Shining more than I've seen any movie ever, because I also came to it when I was like 8 or 9 years old. So from that moment on, I took a visual communication class in college, so I watched it for that on my own because we could go and watch movies and then write essays. So I remember writing an essay on the use of color in the movie, I think. And then just over the years, I always had it on VHS. Now I own it on Prime. Seen it a fuck ton of times. I've also seen the made for television Stephen King
I remember
version.
seeing that, but I don't remember anything about it. I know you probably have a place where you want to start, but I just want to ask you up front, what do you find so compelling about it? Like what if you really think about like what drew you to it in the beginning?
It's tough. It's gosh, there are so many things. As a young person seeing it, it really tapped into ideas about I think I connected with it. Interestingly enough, as time has gone on, I as a child, I connected with it through Danny Lloyd, who
Mhm.
plays Danny Torrance, because we were close in age. So I identify immediately with him and what
Mhm.
he's experiencing. And then as I've gotten older, I found myself connecting with, I think at various times, Wendy Torrance's character as somebody who's a mother, who's married, who is being gaslit by her husband,
Mhm.
clearly not treated well. Her willingness to sacrifice on behalf of her son, she's
Mm.
pushing him out the window, telling him to run and hide, and she's going to have to face the music herself. I mean, she does a lot of self-sacrificing, not just for Danny, but for Jack as well. And then Jack's horrible, he's feels like a failure. He is a failure. And there is a compassion for him as somebody who's clearly just deeply broken, who started out deeply broken. I mean, seeing the movie a quadrillion times and then seeing him in the interview in the beginning, I feel a bit of like, I don't know if you'd call it like secondhand embarrassment. You can hear him trying to talk himself up, but
Yeah.
he's desperate for a job. And I think we've all been there in some way, shape, or form, having to eat his pride because he desperately needs this job, which is not really an ideal job, being a caretaker, shut in a remote hotel in Colorado for all of winter, some of spring, some of fall, some of spring is not it's not great. So you feel that for him. He is the breadwinner. He has
Yeah.
to make things work, not just for him to hopefully be able to be successful as an author, but to provide for his wife and son. So as time has gone on, there's just so many. They're
Oh
well
my
written
god.
characters.
They're the epitome of this is the most visceral film I've ever seen, probably. I was reminded of that watching this, just from their performances to like the way they use the music to the tracking shots and the establishing shots. Like the tracking shots are just like it's like the camera is an entity itself. And it feels so ghostly and haunting.
Yes.
And when you're just talking about it, my stomach is, I mean, because we've all, whether it's our childhood home or our bad relationships we've had or bosses we've had, we all understand that sort of really painful, narcissistic family dynamic or abusive family dynamic or alcoholic family dynamic. It's the epitome, right? She's the enabler, he's the narcissist, the kid is like the scapegoat, the kid who sees everything. In the book, it's different, right? Like, Jack in the book is he's more sympathetic.
Yes, very different. Very, very different. The book is when people say, "No, the book is better than the movie," I'm like, they're two completely different stories. They really are. There's like the
Mhm.
general thing is the same, right? Husband, wife, son go to the Overlook Hotel for the winter to oversee the hotel. That is the same, but their
Mhm.
characters are very, very different. Tony is very, very different. A lot
Yeah.
of things are different. So I'll for those who may not be familiar with The Shining, here's a quick synopsis. The movie was made. It's directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and Scatman Crothers are the main cast. The movie came out. It premiered in 1980 and was met with very mixed reviews. It's a cult classic now, but when it came out, a lot of people just didn't quite know what to make of it. It was a very unique horror movie because ultimately there's one kill in the movie, and that's Scatman Crothers is killed in the movie. And then of course Jack Torrance dies, he's frozen to death. But in terms of actual violence, you don't see it. So a lot of people just didn't quite know what to make of it. It is obviously it has a huge following now and is met with a lot of post critical acclaim. The story is Jack Torrance is a failed writer, lost his teaching job, and he is desperate for work. He takes a job as a caretaker at the Overlook Hotel in Colorado, which is a resort hotel, very, very fancy. All the best people have stayed there. It's historic. And so he goes, he interviews. The hotel manager says there is one caveat. I have to share this with you. You may rethink wanting to spend the winter here. And that is because several years ago, a former caretaker by the name of Delbert Grady, a seemingly normal, totally together man, took the job with his wife and 2 daughters, ages 8 and 10. He went crazy and he killed them with an axe before blowing his brains out. So Mr. Ullman, who is running the Overlook Hotel, shares that information with Jack Torrance. Jack Torrance says, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's not going to happen with me. Wow. Mr. Ullman says, you can understand why I had to share this with you. It's just one of those things. It has certainly given people pause in the past. But the guy, they think that it was like essentially cabin fever because the whole family was like snowed in. Meanwhile, Danny Torrance, who is about 6 years old, is back home in Boulder with his mom in their apartment building. And he is talking to Tony. Tony is his imaginary friend that he talks to. And then Tony talks back to him in a little frog voice. It's Danny. So he'll go, Tony, why don't you want to go to the hotel? I just don't want to. And that's
Red rum,
I did an amazing impression.
red rum,
red rum. Yeah, he goes nuts. He goes nuts with that. Anyway, I'm probably getting too into details. Danny is psychic. Danny has the Shining, which is what it's called. It's why the movie and the book are called The Shining. And it's the cook at the Overlook Hotel tells Danny that is essentially what he has, and that the cook, Mr. Halloran, has it as well. So Danny gets visions from Tony, his imaginary friend, that shows him pictures in his mind. And he sees blood coming out of an elevator. He sees dead twins, all of this. He faints. We find out that Jack used to be an alcoholic. Well, you're never not an alcoholic once you've gone down that road. He is an alcoholic with about 6 months sober. And the thing that led him to finally stop drinking is that he dislocated Danny's arm in a rage one night when Danny had spread a bunch of papers around the floor, Jack's important papers.
So one thing real quick, remember the scene where the doctor comes to the house because Danny faints? And I was watching Shelley Duvall. Her performance is like flawless. But when she was describing to the doctor what happened to Danny and Tony and the dislocated shoulder, she was saying it and she was smiling. Like, coating everything with that sort of Pollyanna. Yes.
And nodding her head.
Chilling. God. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. Anyway, but also that's when Tony appeared, was after a traumatic event, essentially, when he got his shoulder dislocated by his dad. Fast forward, and they are in the hotel, and Jack slowly starts losing his mind. He starts staring off into space. He becomes even shorter and more snippy with his wife and son. Danny starts seeing more and more things. And prior to the hotel closing down, when they were all being given a tour, the hotel cook Dick Halloran, starts communicating with Danny non-verbally, so psychically. And then they have a private conversation where he tells Danny, like, you stay out of room 237, that you have no business going in there. And he explains to Danny that the hotel has the shining as well, this ability to see the past and foresee the future. And that the reason why is because sometimes when things happen, evidence is left behind. Like when you burn toast and you can still smell the remnants of the fact that toast burned, even though that happened a long time prior. That the hotel has that. So he tells Danny essentially to reach out to him psychically if he ever needs any help. And that ends up happening when Jack completely loses his shit, starts seeing things in room 237. Danny becomes nonverbal after he is attacked by, we don't know. It's Wendy believes that Jack hurt Danny again. Danny tells his mom that it was a crazy naked woman in room 237. And when Danny becomes nonverbal, Tony takes over. So then Danny starts, he's just staring straight
Oh
at.
my
Amazing
gosh,
performance by
yes.
Danny Lloyd also. But everything falls apart. Wendy, by the way, she's been criticized. Shelley Duvall's performance has been criticized. Stephen King didn't like how passive Shelley Duvall played Wendy Torrance. A lot of people had a problem with Wendy Torrance. I did not see that at all. I saw her being the actual caretaker. She's the one who's fucking running the hotel. She's doing Jack's job and her own fucking job. She's the one making all the meals, checking the boiler, making sure that everything is okay. She's the one that's in Ullman's office talking to the state troopers about the fact that there's going to be bad weather coming.
Oh, I felt like that moment showed her loneliness.
Oh, when she's trying to like keep having a conversation with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And she, one thing I will say about her character, right? I mean, she was totally the enabler, codependent. The parts where they were walking through the hotel and she was sort of
Making small talk.
cheerily.
Yeah.
Yes. And that contrast between his brooding and like bubbling, seething beneath the surface is so familiar to anyone who's ever had an experience of these dynamics. And it's absolutely made my stomach hurt the entire movie because she's just being her with putting this veneer over their experience as though things are fine. And oh boy. And
Yeah,
they're not.
that's the thing. She's
Yeah.
criticized as being insipid, and I'm like, no, she's trying to hold it together.
Yes.
She's
working really hard.
compensating. She is compensating for her husband's broody moodiness by
Yeah.
trying desperately. I thought that I thought it was incredibly accurate the way that family was portrayed.
Oh my God.
They couldn't have made Wendy Torrance a strong, like an equal to Jack for that to, you wouldn't have a family because a woman that is that kind of strapping and bold, first of all, he would have never married, right? He's going to seek out somebody that is agreeable, that he can dominate, you know,
Or if she was not agreeable, they would be fighting. But
they would be
because
fighting nonstop. Yeah.
she was more enabling and more like head in the sky, like, a little in denial, like he triangulated, the kid became the target.
Hmm.
And it seems like, but then he would say, Wendy's the problem, blah, 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 later on in the movie. But
Oh, when he's complaining to Lloyd the bartender.
yeah, just like the shifting blame. God, it was so accurate down to like when he was holding Danny in the room and saying, "Oh, Danny, how do what they were talking?" And it was after he had already been freaking out. I forget what they were talking about, but you could see how uncomfortable Danny was sitting on his lap, and it totally for me captured what it's like to be a kid who grows up in an abusive household or with an alcoholic father who's unpredictable. My friend said this to me the other day. Is like, I was like, I don't know why it makes me so anxious when, people are unpredictable. And my friend was like, monkeys don't like it when other monkeys are unpredictable. I was like, it's true. But you can just see the bind of like the violence and the anger and all that. And then like the warmth and kindness when that fits, when Jack Torrance kind of is in a different state. Then he makes these bids for connection with the kid. And it's just like, ew, that skin crawling, like what it's like as a child to have a parent who's like that with you and how confusing that is. And that's another brilliant aspect of like both Danny's and Shelley Duvall's performance is like they would toggle. Did you notice this? Like they would toggle from like a passive dissociated kind of look to like the regular present. I'm just, it was very subtle. There was a lot of that because people are going into trances and coming out of trances. But to me, it just felt like that subtle acting from a kid was amazing.
He had no idea that he was filming a horror movie.
Really?
Stanley Kubrick was incredibly protective of Danny Lloyd.
Oh,
He did not know until he was an adult that he was making a horror movie. Stanley Kubrick went out of his way to protect Danny to the point that he and Diane Johnson, who co-wrote the screenplay, had toyed around with some different outcomes for the movie. And he didn't want anything bad to happen to Danny Torrance, the character. And he was so sweet and just would, all the sequences and stuff. And when you see Shelley Duvall holding him and she's yelling at Jack because she thinks that Jack hurt him, that's a doll. That's not Danny. That's not Danny Lloyd.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, he didn't want Danny Lloyd to hear Shelley like screaming at Jack Nicholson. He wanted to protect him from that. It's really interesting. Meanwhile, he's terrorizing Shelley Duvall.
I know.
Like, just and Scatman Crothers, to the point where Scatman Crothers was like in tears.
Really?
Because just Kubrick would keep that tension and that anxiety high with his multiple takes. A lot of it was it was rough. It was really, really, really rough. But Danny Lloyd was,
you can feel it in their performances. I've never seen someone capture that breathless, gutted feeling when somebody just eviscerates you, that's supposed to love you and care about you, and who just unleashes on you and humiliates you. She did that so well. It was like I could feel her holding her breath. I was holding my breath. My stomach was dropped. My heart was just like not beating when he flips out on her for interrupting him when he's writing and she typing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, hon. It's just like, oof.
Yeah. It's brutal. But so then the movie ends with everything comes to a head when at first it's only Danny and then Jack that are seeing things in the hotel, and then it all comes to a head, and then Wendy Torrance starts seeing all the things that Jack and Danny had been seeing, and she and Danny escape. Danny gets his dad lost in the hedge maze, and Danny manages to outsmart his father in the hedge maze, escape the maze, meet up with his mother right outside where there is a snowcat that Dick Halloran had brought to the Overlook Hotel when he tried to come rescue the family. And so Danny and Wendy take off in the snowcat, and we are left to see Jack Nicholson, or Jack Torrance, frozen to death in the hedge maze. And then it cuts to the Overlook Hotel, and it's not clear if it's past, present, or future when we come upon this photograph from 1926, 4th of July, and you see Jack Torrance in the photograph as though he has always been at the hotel. And that's where the movie ends. So that is for the most part, that's The Shining movie. The book is a huge departure. The book was very, very, very different. And you can respect Stanley Kubrick's refusal to make the movie an absolute replica of the book because it was not filmic.
Yeah.
It simply wasn't. That there was
Mhm.
no hedge maze in the book. It's hedge animals that come to life,
Oh,
which
yeah. No.
is corny. It's a croquet mallet and not an axe that Jack Torrance has.
Mm.
Tony is like a voice in Danny's head. He's a figure in Danny Torrance's head. And Wendy is a lot it's a healthier relationship.
Mm.
Jack and Wendy are closer. Jack's more solid. He's like a solid guy. You get more into the history. It's a straight up supernatural book as
Mhm.
well. There's
Mhm.
no ambiguity. It is truly haunted.
Mhm.
So, and Dick Halloran doesn't die.
Oh, good.
He doesn't die at all. He comes, he rescues, he meets up. Jack Torrance saves his son in a way. He turns the mallet on himself and destroys himself
Wow.
and tells Danny to run and tells him that he loves him. And so the chasing is through the hotel. It's not through a hedge maze.
Mm.
And there's a really, really sweet moment between Danny Torrance and Dick Halloran at the end of the novel where they connect. It's the book. The book I was so moved. I remember reading that book when I was in high school. I cried at the end because it's very complicated. It's you really understand the how complicated addiction is,
Mhm.
how Jack Torrance was abused himself as a young boy
Yeah, the parallel between the book and the movie seems to be something about intergenerational transmission of stuff.
of trauma.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And so there's that. Stephen King initially, was so excited that Kubrick was going to make this movie and he wrote a screenplay that Stanley Kubrick absolutely rejected.
Wow.
And then, Stanley Kubrick chose Diane Johnson, who had written numerous wonderful essays on the Gothic. She was an author and a professor, and he really, really wanted to capture a lot of Gothic, the kind of really emphasize like the Gothic elements and the psychological and making it more ambiguous about whether it's haunted, what it means to be haunted. So he
Mm.
worked with Diane Johnson on this screenplay
Mhm.
and had his own ideas, obviously. I absolutely understand Stephen King being completely upset about what happened because the book was deeply personal to Stephen King. He was revealing a lot about himself as somebody struggling with addiction who had gone through a lot. Obviously, he created these characters. He loved these characters. And then to turn around and see something completely different, I understand completely. I get it. I
Yeah.
just happen to really fucking love the movie. And I love the book for two very different reasons. Like you really can't compare them. But that said, I'm just imagining poor Stephen King like sitting in a movie theater going, "What? What have you done? What did you do to Wendy? You made her such a wimp," even though I didn't see Wendy as wimpy at all. And then Jack just being such a douche from the moment, like right away. He's so schmarmy
Oh
and
god.
self-absorbed. And you
Y
really see that just in the interview. And you and I have talked about this when he's in the interview and Mr. Ullman is explaining to him like, "Hey, listen, you're going to be kind of stuck in the hotel from end of October to from Halloween till May 1st. You're going to be isolated." And Jack's like, "Oh, that's exactly what I need. I am outlining a new writing project and several months holed up in this hotel is exactly what I'm looking for. Me, I, me." Mr. Ullman's like, "Cool. How about your wife and kid? Oh, they'll love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the way he says they'll love it. It's like it just dawns on him that they exist. And then he's like,
They'll love
"If
it."
I love it, they'll love it because they're just extensions of me. They're just objects in my world." Yeah, no, it's interesting the isolation thing. It has all the elements of trauma, of narcissism, of addiction, the sort of like the isolated family unit. There are people outside of the family that are kind of like, what's going on? And then there's the mom covers, with the doctor. And yeah, it's just a really kind of perfect meditation on that kind of being haunted in that way. And
Yeah.
like addiction, he's kind of like a dry drunk in the movie because there's no alcohol in, on there really. Of course, he has like visions and experiences of going to the bar and getting served drinks. But yeah, it's like the whole thing with addiction is like it could happen to anyone if you have enough exposure to a substance. And then how addiction and narcissism kind of go hand in hand. There's often a lot of talk. There's a relationship between those two things. The whole time, it's like walking on eggshells, right? Am I
Yeah.
right? The whole
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, honestly, the when the actual visions start happening, when we see, oh shit, hang on a second. When we see hang
Yes.
on.
While you're doing that, I'll tell the story about Tim when he went to the double feature of this and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at the UC Theater.
Oh
Oh
jeez.
yeah, and he smoked a ton of weed before he went in and had a panic attack immediately during like the Volkswagen scene when it's driving the music. He's all, keep it together, Rogers, keep it together. Yeah.
All right, hang on.
Okay. Terrifying. For those of you who cannot see, Dana has put on a mask of, what is it again?
In the book, it's Roger the dog man. In the
Uh-huh.
movie, it's the creepy scene with the bear. The bear, it looks like the bear's filleting. So in the book, it's the man is Horace Derwent, who owns the Overlook Hotel.
Hmm.
And the guy in the bear suit in the book, it's a dog costume, but in the movie, it's a bear costume, and they have like a gay sexual relationship.
Oh my God. Horrifying. Are you going to dress up like that this year?
I should, yeah. You know what? I just yes. Well, what I really want to do. So my partner of many years, I just call him Jay. We actually dressed up as Horace Derwent and the bear costume. I was the bear. And I didn't have the mask yet. I
Mhm.
just had like a bear thing with the ears, and I like colored my face and like tried to draw it in. And then he wore like a suit, and we like walked together.
Oh,
And
that's
I want
good.
to recreate the picture, but have him be with the bear mask so that you don't see him. And then I'll just wear the suit and just recreate that edge of the bed
Oh,
image. So
yes.
good, so good.
Ooh, that's good.
I know.
Oh, it's so good.
I know. I remember being little and being so confused by that image. It's one of those scenes that is, I think, stuck in this sort of like collective unconscious of like trying to make sense of what we're seeing. Because when you're older and you have a sense of like, okay, well, let's see, the bear's face is like flush with the guy's crotch.
Yeah.
You think fellatio, but then when the bear looks up, he's got those fangs. So then
Ooh.
there's this idea of castration,
Oh, I
right?
didn't even
This
notice
image
the
of like
things.
eating
Uh-huh.
the penis. Like that's where
Wow.
your mind kind of like, maybe you're not thinking it consciously, but the idea of it is there, right? And
Yes.
then I can't believe it took me this long. If you go back and watch it again, you can see when he's like bent over the bear, you can see that like he's got like the back flap down. You can see his little butt,
Oh,
the
yeah,
guy's
yeah, yeah.
butt.
Yes, I
Yeah.
noticed that.
It took me so long to notice that. It wasn't until recent. I think because I was so fixated on what the bear was doing that I didn't look
Uh-huh.
to see that his little butt flap was down.
Yeah. Which also implies something else.
Yes. So it's all the things that are unsaid, but like
Mhm.
these images.
Well, they're like dream images, the little shards of dream images that you have that are so shocking sometimes. Like that old woman in the bathtub, like the
Yeah.
beautiful in the oof.
The incongruity. There's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of doubling and mirroring and incongruity, and the incongruity of like the bear costume, like the
Yes.
mask, right? Because then there's also, and this is where I go nuts because you know that I am a fucking sucker for the Gothic. I fucking love the Gothic genre. And I love the fact I didn't know, but it makes sense that the co-writer was an expert in the
Mhm.
Gothic and that Kubrick really wanted to push these images and these ideas because of all the transgressive imagery and themes
Mhm.
like the doubling. So you've got
Mhm.
the twins, right? They're presented as twins, but they're not actually twins because Ullman says the daughters are 8 and 10 years old, but they're presented as doubles.
Oh, interesting.
You've got Danny and Tony,
Uh-huh.
right? You have Grady and Jack Torrance.
Mm-hmm.
You've got beautiful young woman, creepy old woman. You have the man bear. So it's like he's in a bear costume, but he's clearly filleting, right?
Yeah.
Because he pops his head up, but he's got his mask on. So how was he doing it? So
Yeah.
there's like the real and the imagined, the human and the animal, the costume and the person. And then you have the maze as like an example of, that Jack's mind and how broken it is. But you see that when Wendy and Danny are the only two that ever learn how to make it through the maze. That's how Danny was able to survive.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
is
and he tricked him. Well,
he
it's like
tricked him? Yeah.
the other duality is like the Jekyll and Hyde. Like, and
Yes.
that's such the thing with narcissists. I keep belaboring this point, and addicts, like, it's unpredictable. And we monkeys don't like it when the other monkeys are unpredictable. And,
Right.
he's like loving, apologetic, whatever. In moments, it really does feel like he is humanized. And then in the next moment, he's just this rage monster. Yeah, and what that does to a family, like what the legacy of that is too. Doesn't it feel like the movie was also sort of about legacy, about
Yeah.
what gets handed down and how?
The sins of the father. Yeah. The
Mhm.
sins of the father are visited. I can't remember the direct quote, but essentially they're passed down to the sons. Like if you don't if you don't fix it, if you don't nip it in the bud, it can destroy an entire family.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because you see Wendy playful and cheerful when she's alone with Danny when they're playing outside. And
Yeah.
you see that when they're outside and they're walking through the hedge maze and they're learning the environment. And so the fact that Jack essentially succumbs to his
Mm.
own he gets lost in his own mind and he
Mhm.
dies there. Danny found a way out because Danny and Wendy took the time to like learn how to do things, to figure out how to do things. They actually it's funny because Jack is hired to be the caretaker, but he never actually does any of the work. It's Wendy who does absolutely everything. He just goes and he sits in front of a computer and types out the same phrase over and over and over again. So essentially, he's going to fail. It's his vanity project. He's unwilling to do the job that he's being paid to do, but he's going to go and indulge this fantasy he has about being a writer.
God, it just captures this the emptiness of a narcissist. And if you're addicted to, when you're addicted to stuff, and when you're addicted to stuff, it is just it's Groundhog's Day over and over again. The
Right.
mind does get caught in loops, right? He didn't have anything inside to like contact, to bring out, to write. It was like if he's a dry drunk, or if he's a narcissist, whatever you want to say, like it really captured the vacuous nature of like the mind and spirit when you're addicted to the spirits. And that's a great point about Danny and Wendy, because they're just outside making contact with the real world, playfully learning. Right? And she's doing everything. She's cooking, she's pushing the little cart down the right.
Yep.
And Danny, oh God, those tracking shots of Danny on his little big wheel, those are so amazing.
That was in it. That was the first time that was ever done. That was on that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that movie innovated that shot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, and the sound, right? Like this,
The
like the
sound design is funny story. You know that weird I can't describe it, but that weird repetitive sound that would happen like she turns and she sees the guy with the bullet hole in his head who's like, "Great party, isn't it, Mrs. Torrance?"
is
That
it kind of like
sound.
stabby? That stabby
Yeah,
sound?
yeah.
Yes, like
And then you hear
"Mm."
that the weird chanting, quiet
Yes.
chanting
Oh,
and
the
stuff.
chanting.
When I was in high school, I used to sleep with my stereo on
Oh
because
God.
I was so old. I'm so old that I used to have a fucking stereo and it was on like Z100 and I would just have it on low just because I like to go to sleep to the sound of music, whatever.
Yes.
So it was close to Halloween. Lights are out in my room. I'm laying there. I'm almost asleep. And that sound
Oh,
comes on. I fucking jumped out of bed and like ran over and turned on my light and slept with the light on that whole night because that sound, it just like got my heart going. That sound is so terrifying.
it was sort me of like the Bernard Herrmann, like the soundtrack for Psycho a bit, like the ching ching. It had that
Yeah.
quality of the
Yeah.
like icy stabby.
Yeah.
Movies are way too heavily soundtracked, in my humble opinion. So this one I thought was so amazing because it felt like the sound would only come in as emotion, like to complement whatever was happening internally for people. And also what was brilliant, and I'm sure you've noticed this, when he's riding on his big wheel and he's on the carpet, then the floor, the carpet, then the floor. It's just brilliant. It's just totally, and then when she's pushing the cart down, it's just totally quiet and you can hear the cart clinking. I think the silence, the no soundtrack really highlighted the moments they used the sound, and they used the sound most of the time. I think right in those moments where people are having a vision or when something dramatic is happening.
Yeah, that's the thing where it's a testament to Stanley Kubrick's absolute confidence in himself as a director, and also the complete control that he would exert over his entire production. His hand was in absolutely everything. And it's that confidence, and that he knew that everything was very intentional, not to the degree that some of these weirdos say. Okay, like there's that documentary called Room 237 where everyone thinks that because of Kubrick's control freak nature, they're like, well, then he never makes mistakes. And it's like, in the book, this book, by the way, anybody, it's expensive. This book was like over $100. I fucking love this. This book is amazing. It's called The Shining: Studies in the Horror Film, edited by Danielle Olson. It is essays. It's scholarly essays on The Shining. It's interviews with the cast and crew. It's wonderful pictures in here as well. You see some behind the scenes pictures. It's so good. This book is so fucking amazing. Worth every fucking penny if you are a fan.
Oh my God. Yeah. Dana just showed a picture of the bear man.
Yeah, so it's from the movie. It's the guy in the bear costume and then the other dude in the suit. But from the novel, it's Horace Derwent and Roger the Dog Man. So however you want to think of them. But yeah, no, this book is incredible. And someone wrote it's essentially an essay on just how ridiculous it is to say that like Stanley, that like everything was absolutely intentional. People point to how when Wendy and Jack are talking, you see there's a chair behind Jack, and then it cuts to Wendy. When it cuts back, the chair is gone. It cuts to Wendy, it cuts back, the chair is there. And they're like, what's Stanley trying to say in that? In all likelihood, he went with the best take of each. And it happened that someone fucking made a mistake and moved the chair. Also, the significance of room 237, because in the book it's room 217. And it's simply that the people at the hotel, I want to say Timberline Lodge, because that's where the exterior of the hotel shots came from. I want to say it's that they were like, can you make it a different room number? Because we're afraid that people are going to not want to stay in room 217.
Okay. Little did they know that it would have been a hit.
Right. Right.
Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So then they were like, okay, well, is there a room 237? There isn't. Then that's what we're going to go with. So, and also that if you watch Spartacus, there's some people wearing wristwatches by accident. So it's like Kubrick was absolutely a control freak, but he was not above making a mistake here and there. All you have to do is watch Eyes Wide Shut when Nicole Kidman goes to wipe herself after she pees to know that drives me nuts. I'm so glad that you remember that, Shannon, and that apparently a lot of people were equally horrified by the fact that she wipes her abdomen after she's done.
Well, unless her pubic hair goes up super high, but it's like she takes the tissue and this is her vulva.
Look,
she wipes here.
Yeah. She goes. She gets up and she goes. And I'm like,
it.
whoa, you're gonna get a UTI, girlfriend. Like that's how you wipe.
Just
Ouch.
rubbed it in. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really, really strange. Yeah,
Yeah. It's funny when we all remember those things, but we wouldn't know unless it was for Reddit.
right. Yeah, but anyway, so Kubrick, there are these things that happen. It could be that those were just the best takes, and he went with them, and then was like, well, whatever with the chair. It's a haunted hotel. Let someone notice the continuity error, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, the point is kind of moot because it works. It works for what it is. The mind is playing tricks on us, or the impossible window in Jack Ullman's office when some film detectives went and figured out what the layout of the hotel would be, and they were like, that window would be impossible behind Ullman's head in the office, because you
Mm.
can see that it's like sunny outside, but like actually the way that the hotel is structured, that would be a hallway.
Uh,
And the thing is, it was a soundstage. That you have the exterior shot of Timberline Lodge in Oregon. You have like the Glacier like National Forest for the Volkswagen Bug as it's driving that winding road.
yeah. Where is
That's what
that?
I think it's Montana.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where they shot in Montana for those shots. And then you have a soundstage in England for the interior shots of the hotel, which were modeled after, I sent you that picture,
Yes.
the hotel in Yosemite, the what was it,
Awa,
Awapani,
something like that.
something like that. But it's
There's a place somebody owns a house in Lake Tahoe, and it was on Airbnb for a while, and they modeled their place after that hotel, which was kind of cool.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Wow, we skipped over the Indian burial ground.
Oh yes, that the hotel is also was built on an Indian burial ground. They
Was
make a
that in the
point.
book?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I believe it was. It's been years since I read it. Which again plays into the whole, all of the Gothic elements. You have sacred, you have that this India. Hey, Adam. Yeah. In the novel The Shining, was the hotel built on an Indian burial ground? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay. I could be wrong. I think it was. I think it was.
So I could be wrong. I could Google it right now and find out. I'm not going to. Yeah, well, that just added an element. That's funny. That feels like a very 80s trope.
Oh, because of Poltergeist?
I think it was a thing. I think there's another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
any burial grounds.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
because you're disrupting something. There is a disruptive aspect. There's the idea of massacres that in a lot of ways there's
And violence, generational violence.
generational violence. You also have this idea of colonization. You have all of these elements that come into this. You have the broken woman who's having to navigate this space.
Oh, doesn't Jack say? Jack says at one point at the bar, he's taking a drink and he says, "White man's burden."
White man's burden,
Mhm.
Lloyd. White man's burden. But yeah, so let me see if there's. I made some notes. Locations. Yeah, Glacier National Park, Montana, is where the helicopter shots were.
God, it reminds me of Vancouver. When I went to Vancouver with my ex-boyfriend on a trip, oh my God almighty. It was the worst trip. It was like he was possessed. It was like my shining vacation. And I remember driving to Whistler through all these along the coast or there was water. I don't know if it was a coast. Yes. But this was a long time ago. And my ex he was definitely had an undiagnosed something going on. And we flew to Seattle and then we drove to Vancouver. And the moment we got on this vacation, he just completely changed. Talk about unpredictable monkeys. I was so stressed out. I was like, what has happened? He's like body snatched. It was the worst vacation of my life. I wish that I was kind of a Wendy. I was definitely like trying to make it better. Let's go hiking. And then finally I was like, fuck it. And I just went and did something of my own. And I really wish that I would have had the wherewithal to get up go to the airport, and fly home. It would have been a shining moment in my life. But instead, I stuck it out on this miserable vacation, and it felt like he was totally possessed. Oh, and there was one thing I was going to say about just bad relationships in general, in terms of like, then the movie, there was this one scene. What was it? Just the breaking point, Wendy's breaking point. You know,
with the bat.
when she finally, it just dawned on her, she's like, this is like, I'm now in, like, now I'm willing to defend myself and my son against you. Now I see like how dangerous you are. I had one of those moments with my ex. Should I share it?
Sure.
Should we dish the dirt on our exes on here? Not that he's sorry if you're listening, but we were like breaking up, and his sister and brother came to town, and we went wine tasting in Napa, and then we went to the Mint and to do karaoke.
I forgot about the Mint.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're at the Mint, and I'm just talking to his brother-in-law, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. I went outside, and I walk up, and he doesn't see me, and he's talking to a couple of girls outside, and I walk up and I overhear him talking to the girls in an Irish accent, pretending to be an Irishman.
Dude,
That was
so weird.
That was my get the bat moment. I was like, okay, all right.
Wait, no, was that your all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy moment, right?
Oh, that was what it was. That was what it was.
She's like going through page, like she's hoping, like already 30 pages in, it's like she's hoping there's going to be something else. I'm like, even if there was, you know what I mean? He literally just wrote like 30 pages of the same sentence over and over again.
Yes.
She keeps going and going.
That was that. And in the film, they do this a lot. They're all ching, ching. They like move in on her, just her shock and dismay. That's exactly how it felt in that moment with him. I was like, everything just exploded. Anyway, it's just perfect in that way, though. I think almost anybody, it's like a mirror. That movie's like a mirror. And I think anybody could find, who's had a difficult, challenging relationship with someone who's very self-centered, could relate, or has been addicted to something, could relate to, I don't know, the like the soul stealing kind of elements in the whole thing.
No, there's so much, like, if you think about the movie as a metaphor, right? If you think about the hotel, which again, going back to like Gothic elements, you know, rather than it being a castle, it's a hotel. Mm-hmm. And there's like so much that's uncanny, you know,
yes.
but we have that. It's like, that was probably your uncanny valley moment, like overhearing him pretending to be an Irishman. And then it makes you wonder, like, what else has he lied about?
Yes. Oh,
I'm just picturing him. He's like, oh,
put another the Blarney Stone. I don't know what is.
Yeah, I know.
Like why Irish?
I know. That's so weird.
And I walked up and I was like, hey, I'm all, hello. I'm all, why are you talking with an Irish accent?
So you confronted him on it.
Okay. And the girls were there, and I was like, this is so weird. So anyway, but then when we broke up, I had a really hard time with that breakup. I was just, that was the relationship that woke me up out of my Wendy stupor. Like I used to blame all my ex-boyfriends. I'm all, oh God, they're all so, selfish and immature. I'm all, oh, what's the common denominator here? Oh, that would be me. That would be me making these decisions to be with. But anyway, he's a great person, honestly. But like,
is he still pretending to be?
No.
Does it just change? Like, it depends on who he's talking. Sometimes he's Irish. Sometimes he's
right. Well, I thought, I haven't spoken with him, but he's reached out to me a bunch of times, and I should probably reach back out. But like, he has totally transformed. Like, he has gotten treatment and like,
okay,
feels like he's doing better in his life. He seems, but I just, for some reason, I'm like, I can't. It's really something when you have an intense experience with someone and then you kind of move on with your lives, and then they contact you again, and it's a weird feeling. It evokes something weird in me. Like, like with Facebook and social media and being able to contact people, we just can't lose people. People don't just go away now. Like, you don't have your experience as a kid with your high school friends. You move out of town. You maybe lose touch. You're kind of in touch with everyone if you wanted to be. And I don't know if that's, I don't know about that. I don't know if that works. Like, yeah. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. For sure.
right.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to remember the person in their best light,
Yeah.
That happened with like a high school experience where somebody that I had been like pretty good friends with in high school ended up turning into a total freak, like a total weirdo.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Oh, I wish that we hadn't connected on Facebook," because it was on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I just like blocked them because I'm like, "Are you drunk right now?" Like
Oh,
it was like really, really weird
yeah.
and just
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh man, this sucks. It would have been better to just remember you as that like cool dude, you know?"
Yeah. And like there's a time and place, right? We had our time and place. And then, but it can also be nice to maintain a relationship. Like I see Peter on Facebook sometimes, and it's really fun to see like what he's doing with his life. And he has a dog, and there's that. It can be sweet. But yeah, I know.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like pick your poison or pick your. Anyway.
But yeah, so it's interesting with the movie and you look at this family and they're trapped in in the father's delusion. They're trapped with him. And again, with going back to Gothic elements, you've got this hotel with all these corridors and all these secret rooms
Mm,
and the bits and pieces of the past that are coming to the surface and they're being haunted like literally and figuratively by all of these tragic, dark, violent, confusing elements. And then they're contending also with nature.
mhm.
You've got the mountains, the snow, the cold that they have to combat. They have to find a way to navigate through. And then
Oh,
they have, Halloran helps them in a way by coming to their rescue and leaving the snowcat. So they're able to, through someone's kindness, find their way out, navigate their way out of it. So
yeah.
yeah, if you think about the events in the hotel, all like the kind of sex and violence
Yeah.
as parts of Jack that at first only Danny sees. And then Jack becomes aware of it himself. And then it's at the end Wendy finally is confronted. She has no choice. She can't push this back anymore. She can't. There is no hiding.
Your boyfriend's talking to some ladies with an Irish accent, honey.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right, she has to confront it. It's
She has
interesting,
no choice. Yeah.
and the child usually does in those situations feel it first. And it is common for, like, the abuse to be on the child, not the spouse. If the spouse is good and able to do function how she was functioning in that relationship by placating him, and yeah. And so the kid is like the seer and the experiencer of all this stuff and, like, the warning. But what does it take? Yeah, it takes her yeah, I guess it takes her reading that novel. Yeah, right. So then she wakes up and then she's able to act in a way that is protective of her and her kid.
Well, what's interesting is that in the hotel after she here's Jack having a nightmare and she's down, of course, doing his fucking job down in the basement because he can't do the fucking job he's being paid to do.
I know.
It drives me crazy. It's like
I
they don't want
know.
to be there. They don't want to be at the hotel, but he's like, I have to take this job. Oh, and when he's lecturing her, when he's like, have you stopped for a moment to think about what I need, about the
Yeah.
obligation
Oh.
that I signed a contract
Yeah.
to watch the Overlook? And I'm like, you're not doing it. She's doing it all.
Dude.
She's fucking doing all of it. And you're acting like you're the one who's employed. It's like, yeah, technically, but you've
Ugh.
been sitting there writing the same sentence. Anyway.
No,
Uh,
grandiosity. Let's look at the DSM-5. Grandiosity, need for admiration, lack of empathy, rage when thwarted, and
projection.
gaslighting,
Yeah.
projection. Yeah. And also it could be a metaphor for the mind, that house. I mean that
Well, it
place.
is for sure.
Yeah.
The hotel. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you think about it, it's like the secrets in room 237 that are locked. And then it isn't until that door is unlocked. And
Uh
Danny unlocks it.
Oh,
He's the one
yeah.
who walks in there first, and then it releases, like everything just starts to come to the fore, and Jack goes in there, he comes out. But it's interesting because the first thing that happens in the hotel where Wendy kind of stands up to Jack is when she thinks that he hurt Danny again.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she picks
Yes.
Danny up and she's yelling at him, "How could you, you bastard, damn you." And she's yelling at him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes back to him because she thinks, because Danny tells her, or Tony at that point tells her, that it was the lady in room 237. Then Wendy is like, "Oh, okay. Well then," and she runs over to Jack, "Can you please go see what's going on?" That you see that when it comes to Danny, she's gonna act like that. That's what will, she didn't the
Yeah.
first, well, Jack, I'm not gonna get into like how it's easier said than done,
Well, she's doing that dance, where it's like, it's that whole dance with abuse, right? Like the person who's abusing you or being is the threat who's, I mean, I
Mhm.
think that kind of being that erratic we go into like threat detection mode, right? It's like, this is not safe. It's not safe for the family. It's not safe for me, really. I can't predict this person's behavior. But there's like, then he comes to her, right? He stirs them up, then he apologizes, and he becomes the object that's like soothing. It's a whole,
Right. It's the trauma bond.
yeah, yep, trauma bonded family. That's
Yeah, it's so interesting watching The Shining over and over and over again. The most terrifying aspects of the movie are simply of Jack Torrance before anything crazy happens. It's
yes.
him. It's his He's on edge from the moment the movie starts till the end.
He's so menacing.
Yeah, the easiest moments are the ones with the ghosts.
Oh
With
yeah.
Lloyd, the bartender, with the twins, with Grady, with the bear guy, all of that. Those are the least frightening things.
You can see how one person, we've all experienced this with someone in our lives, whether it's like a teacher or whatever, a friend. There's one person can walk into the space and all of a sudden everyone's holding their breath.
Right. They're
Right.
sucking the air out of the room.
Hmm.
It's such a great example of what does it mean to be haunted? Because the specters, the images that they see,
Hmm.
don't actually physically hurt them at all.
No.
The violence that happens is on the part of Jack. That's it. He is the violent force. We don't know because we don't see like the strangulation, the marks on Danny. We don't know if that came from the lady or if it came from Jack. We don't know.
Hmm. I think probably in my mind, I'm like, I think it's Jack.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
probably in a daze, in a trance,
Hmm.
and did this. I think that's the thing that made it so hard when the movie released in 1980. There was nothing like it. There was nothing like it. Everything was very direct. If you were watching a horror movie, it was either a psychological horror movie like, well, even Psycho was, Psycho was, it was a murder. There's a murder in it, but it's, there's a psychopath.
Hmm.
It's clear there isn't any kind of, or there isn't any ambiguity with it, I
Hmm.
guess is what I'm trying to say. Whereas
Hmm.
The Shining just had a lot of ambiguity.
Hmm.
In a lot of ways, it was experimental. In a lot of ways, it was ahead of its time. And I think that the most unsettling elements are that it is left so much to interpretation, and either whichever way you go with it, it's deeply frightening.
Yes. And the true horror is not, it's otherworldly, sort of, but the true horror is like being a child in a family with a dad like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and it happens all the time, everywhere, and just that powerlessness that you feel even with a partner who's like that, like I've hitched my wagon to this, yikes, and I have a kid with this person. Yeah, the true horror was like relational in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is the true horror. And
Mhm.
and it's interesting because whichever, and again, watching it as a child and identifying so much with Danny Torrance, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And then you get older and then watch it and you identify with Wendy, if you've ever been in a narcissistic relationship, which is fucking brutal and
Yeah.
terrifying. And then Jack, if you've ever been afraid that you're just a complete loser and that everyone is
Ah,
sort of counting on you and
oh,
you can't deliver and you have such a gross low self-esteem that you just want to drink or do drugs, or you're just hoping that you can write the great American novel, but here you are, now you thought this was it, you're stuck
totally
snowbound in this
lost.
hotel and you have no good ideas. So you feel like the world's biggest fucking loser. It's like it sucks to be any one of those people.
Yes. Yes. The like lost, like the whole when I first started studying psychology and getting my degree, I forget who said this. Like, but they're like, the mind is a scary place. Don't go in there alone. And it's so easy to get lost in our minds. It's so easy to get lost as a human. So you really feel they didn't make him a sympathetic character in the movie, but we can all relate to losing our tempers, especially out of feeling pressured and ashamed and like a loser. I mean, maybe some people can't relate to that, but I can. Um, and not being our best selves and genuinely and not having a lot of control. I also really do feel for people who live in a mind that is like that, like the narcissistic mind, and or the like a borderliney kind of psychology where you can't manage your feelings. It's terrifying and awful. It's for you and for everyone around you. And just how easy it, like the maze thing, I never had thought of that until you said it, the like it being a metaphor for the mind, and it's so true. It's like it's not easy, it's not hard to never come back, to be gone forever and never. I mean, I think people live their whole lives like sometimes stuck in their minds, being batted around by their thoughts and feelings their whole lives, and never really having a life that they feel like they can direct, like never having a compass, like a moral compass, or a getting caught in substances, getting caught in wanting like success and money and fame or whatever.
No, it's another interesting thing where we talk about with the Gothic, where it's there's just a ton of transgression in the Gothic. We see it between like real imagined, dead alive, all that. There's
Hmm.
also just the aspect of time, and the
Mm.
way it's like it shows closing day. It's like closing day. The title cards suddenly become
Oh
random.
yeah.
It's like then
Mm.
it's like Monday, and then later on it's like 4 p.m. And
Hmm.
you're like 4 p.m. on Monday, 4 p.m. Like what
Yeah.
where are we? Are we in November? Are we in January? Has Christmas, like it's completely disorienting.
Mm.
So it's playing with ideas of time,
Mm.
which comes up again when we see that Jack Torrance is in the photograph for 4th of July 19, I think, is it 1929 or 1926? I
I
can't
think it's
remember.
21.
1921. Okay. And and we remember when Grady, and then there's also this idea when he's in the bathroom and he's like, Grady, is it? Delbert Grady? And but the guy's like, no, I'm Charles Grady.
Mm.
Oh, but weren't you the caretaker? No, you've always been the caretaker. I should know. I've always been here. So there is also that ambiguity around Charles, Delbert, or Jack. Which one is it? There's this interchangeableness.
Uh-huh.
And
Like archetype.
yes,
Mhm.
and also like the role, what is it to be a caretaker? And then when we talk about roles and like gender, because you see a lot
Mhm.
of like sort of like gender transgression in the Gothic as well, and
Mhm.
it's Wendy taking on the role of the caretaker, and
Yeah,
you
with her
realize
overall dress. She had an overall dress.
she was always working. That woman never stopped fucking working. If she wasn't taking, if she was doing all the work, so she's the caretaker.
Yeah.
So there's these ideas about roles, ideas about time,
Mm.
and always having been at the hotel. And that's the thing. So if we think about how Wendy and Danny escape,
Mhm.
Jack doesn't, because he's always been there. If the Overlook, also the name Overlook. So
Mhm.
you've got
Mhm.
Overlook, which means to like look over. So it's
Mhm.
like we're overlooking the Colorado Rockies, or to overlook, as in to not see.
Yes. Yes. And then we do that a lot with addiction.
Yeah, you're overlooking things, and Jack is trapped at the Overlook, and he's always been.
So
So
that brings up the is time linear thing for me. Like some people were talking about reincarnation with regard to this, but right, it's an interesting thing, like, is it like humans have always been doing this. Humans have always been violent. Humans have always been addicted to certain substances or whatever, or humans have always killed each other. So that's sort of how I was holding it in terms of like, what does that mean? But it is interesting. Like if you took it literally, what would the interpretation be if he was there really in that photo in 1921? Would it mean like that person is reincarnated again or something and lured back to the hotel through circumstance and then to repeat and groom and take more people in? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you want to see it as purely a supernatural, but I know that I mean, I think it's telling that Kubrick chose Diane Johnson or Johnstone, I can't remember, to write with him because he wanted this to be more psychological than anything else. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could
Mhm.
imagine it as, I mean, when Stephen King wrote the book, it was a supernatural book.
Yeah. Okay.
Those were ghosts. It was a haunted hotel.
Okay.
I think there was two functions. Jack's trauma made him vulnerable. Danny's trauma made him vulnerable. But in this particular situation, I think the idea of haunting it is more of a, and I think it's telling too that the way that Dick Halloran explains to Danny about the smell of burnt toast, that things that have been left behind are still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about the addiction, trauma, all that kind of stuff, and you think about this hotel that ultimately, like, the family structure was going to break down completely.
Well, it reminds me of epigenetics. Yeah, like things do get handed down to us, a whiff of something like that, right? Both
Right.
trauma from like what we learn behaviorally, but I think genetically, the experience changes things. Anyway, not to get off
Well,
on
no, and then when you go to Dr. Sleep, you see that
Mhm.
Danny Torrance deals with addiction. He
Uh-huh.
becomes an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But then he also manages to break free. I mean, he saves the little girl's life. He teaches her how to use the gift in the same way that Dick Halloran, who becomes a father figure to him, has taught him how to manage his gift. So that you could also look at like the gifts that also come down from trauma.
Yeah.
The ways in which we learn to save our own lives. And Danny's shining,
Mhm.
also saved his life. And
Yeah.
then he goes on to teach this girl how to save her own life. Forgot her name in the story. I fucking loved Mike Flanagan's another
Oh,
amazing
I love
dude.
Mike Flanagan. Did he direct Dr. Sleep?
Yes.
Do you know I
Yes.
love all of his shows? I
The
love
old Hill
that.
House.
Well, that's funny. That's the one I haven't watched.
Oh my God.
I
It's
even like the midnight, whatever, the
the
midnight.
Midnight Club.
I love that, and I also love the other one with the vampire guy. The like, they're at the church. Oh, what's it called? Oh, what's shame?
Oh, yeah. The Island.
It's so good.
Right?
I
Yeah.
loved that show. I didn't know he directed Doctor Sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great. And you get to see the Overlook Hotel again. But yeah, so anyway, I fucking love that movie so much, The Shining. It's so great, and I hope that people listening also like it and interested to hear people's different interpretations also.
It's fun. It's like a Rorschach test. It's like you can just really, have fun with it. Yes, people please respond if you have thoughts about the movie. And you can write to us on our social media.
Did I already show my The Shining shoes on here?
No.
Yeah, look. It says Red Rum.
So Dana just showed her those Converse.
Yeah. They made a like limited edition horror movie shoes. There's
Show the
some with
socks.
it. Oh, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. These came from a fan a long time ago, sent these to me. It was so nice.
That's the sweetest gift.
Yeah. I know. I've gotten so we have the Shining themed bathroom in our house downstairs. The guest bathroom has all kinds of Shining paraphernalia in it, including the Grady twins. These little dolls that are sitting there watching you go to the bathroom, and my bear mask also sits in there.
You need to have a rotting old lady in the bathtub.
We don't have a bathtub in that. It's yeah, or else that would be amazing. Anyway, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy
And we'll be
Halloween.
back to our regularly scheduled topics next week. Be safe out there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.